visiting St. John Riptide. Starting at forward, number 35, Ali Ahmed. At forward, number 33, Malcolm Miller. Also at forward, number 32, Mariq Isom. Starting at guard, number 23, Jeremiah Morty. And also starting at guard, number 4, Horace Wormley. Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the St. John Riptide, Nelson Taroba. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to introduce the All-Star Cresting starting lineup for your Island Storm, please welcome Cowboy Mike Hughes.
Island Storm fans, it's the last regular season game in our house. Let me hear you make some noise. I said, let me hear you make some noise, Storm fans. We're getting ready for our run in the playoffs. Tonight, Storm fans, we need all your energy to fuel their intensity. Let's make some noise and get this rocking right here, right now. Storm fans, are you ready? I said, are you ready? Then let's get this started right here, right now. At guard, from Montreal, Quebec, Kemi Osei. At guard, from Los Angeles, California, Franklin Sessions. At forward, from the Lower East Side of New York, Duvon Mad Max Maxwell. At forward, from Mesquite, Michigan, Chris Anderson. And the big man in the middle, from Cochran, Georgia, let's hear it for Carl Hall. Storm fans, let me hear you make some noise. Let's blow the roof off this place tonight. Let me hear ya. Storm fans, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, the head coach of the Island Storm is Tim Kendrick. Assistant coaches Lonnie States, Jeff Morrison, team manager Frankie Beaton, and Greg Moore.
So there you have it, folks. Cowboy Mike Hughes trying to get this crowd all revved up for the final regular season game. The Island Storm, they've secured their spot into the postseason. After today, they'll have 4 more regular season games to go before the playoffs. And they will meet the St. John team once again on March the 27th in St. John. They're going to play 3 games in a row. They'll end up playing 3 games in a row, rather, against St. John. So it's almost like a playoff series before the playoffs actually begin. And there's a good chance, possibility, that the Storm could meet this St. John team in the first round of the playoffs. Now, St. John, they've been on a little bit of a bad streak, I guess you could say. They've won just once in their last 6 games, coming off a loss yesterday. Last night they took on Halifax. They lost that game by a margin of 90-82. And these two teams, they played on Thursday night, and it was no contest. It was the Storm beating down the Island Storm 118-96. And if you recall, on Thursday, a very bad day for travel. The Storm They had to leave at 10 a.m. in the morning for a 7 p.m. game in St. John. So that took them out of their rhythm, did not shoot the ball very well, and the compete level was much to be desired in that game. So look for a much different performance here from the Island Storm. They had their 8-game winning streak snapped on Thursday in St. John. As we're going to get a ceremonial toss of the ball here. And for the Island Storm, coming up for them, as I mentioned, they'll play St. John again on March the 27th, then at Halifax on the 29th, March the 30th, Cape Breton, and a makeup game, a game that was canceled because of winter conditions in southwestern Ontario. They'll have to fly all the way back to Ontario to take on the London Lightning. That'll be in April the 1st game. As we're about ready to get going here, this Storm team 18-17, currently in 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division, and you have St. John at 17-18. They're in 4th spot. So we're underway here at the Eastlink Center. Final home game during the regular season for the Storm. They're playoff bound, and they want to get things in order for the playoffs. Ahmed, he gets the ball knocked out of his hands, and that'll be Storm ball. In that game on Thursday, the Storm shot just 38.4% from the field. And from the free throw line, which has been a problem this season, 66.7%. Here's Anderson. Anderson missed that shot, and Horace Warmley will bring it down. He'll push it up here. This is Morty. Warmley for 3. No good. Kimi Osei put a little too much on that one. Hits the backboard, and Warmley will slow it down in the half court here for St. John. Ahmed, former Cape Breton Highlander, into the paint, turnaround, window, no good. Still looking for our first points of this game. Franklin Session. He's going to stop, pop, can't drain that 3. And Jeremiah Morty will slow the pace down a little bit. Both teams trying to find their range here. Morty, and he misses. Kimi Osei getting some starting time here now because Tyler Scott is injured. A drive by Carl Hall, and he is fouled. And it's a foul on the floor. So there'll be 16 seconds remaining in the shot clock here for the Storm. So you have Chris Johnson. He's out of the game. He's got a finger injury. And Scott is out with an ankle injury, but they're expected to be back in time for the playoffs. Just underway here at the Eastlink Center. 10:30 remaining in this first quarter. Still looking for our first points of the game. Miller. Oh, nice backdoor pass by Ahmed to Miller. And Malcolm Miller, boy, he is having quite a season. He's averaging 18.4 points per game. He's shooting 48.1% from the field. From range, that's Mad Max, can't get it. OC, as he couldn't find any maneuverability. And from range, knocking it down is Miller. So a 5-0 lead for the Riptide. Here are the big men going at it. Hall trying to back down a mid, turnaround shot, and can't get it to go. And Carl Hall will head to the line and shoot a pair. A big shout out today to Beverly Ann, who's the Storm team photographer, watching at home. So Beverly Ann, hope you're resting comfortably. A little under the weather, so enjoy the game here this afternoon. And Carl Hall makes the first of 2. He has been a major difference for this Storm team since coming over a couple of weeks ago from Niagara. Gives the Storm That low post presence both offensively and defensively. Another change to the roster. Jerion Henry, he was released earlier this week. It's Miller. Miller goes to Wormley, cross court. Wormley takes it in, kicks it out. Here's Morty, and Morty drains it. Jeremiah Morty from downtown hitting the triple. And it's 8-2 for the Riptide. Hall, nice spin move by Hall, takes it to the rack. And the big man with the deuce. And that is a good example of what the Storm did not have this season. Man to get into the low block and create some havoc. Here's Miller. Wormley, he's directing Miller, trying to get him in position. Lofts it up there. Miller swings it out. Ice him. And that three ball is good just at the death as the shot clock was running out. 11 of 4 for the Riptide. Turnover. Gord was there to turn that ball over, or force the turnover at least, and then a foul on Isom. So the Storm a little discombobulated here. Down by 7. Anderson wants to drive in the paint, throws it up, off the iron and out. And then he puts the bear hug on Jeremiah Morty. Take a look at Chris Anderson. He had 26 points in that loss on Thursday in St. John. And Coach Tim Kendrick has been very, very happy with the play of number 24. As a timeout called. And Island Storm, as I mentioned, 18 and 17. They've got themselves 5 more games remaining, counting this one. And they've got a couple of games in hand on Moncton. So things still in flux in terms of where they're going to finish. But they are in the playoffs. Season tickets, or rather playoff tickets, are on sale right now. And a great deal that the Storm have for you. If you put down 40% on season tickets for next year, all your playoff tickets are free this season. So you take a look at the deal provided by the Island Storm. So they're still awaiting to find out who they're going to play. Still many things to be decided. You've got St. John, they're 17 and 18. Storm 18 and 17. And Moncton, they just have 3 games remaining in the regular season. They're 21 and 16. And, of course, this Halifax team, 25 and 11. St. John, as I mentioned, they played last night. They lost to Halifax 90-82. Fourth quarter was simply no contest because Halifax, they just took it to another gear. 36-13 in favor of Halifax in that fourth quarter against St. John last night. And this St. John team, they've been on the road a little bit. They played 4 games on the road, and talking to Coach Nelson Taroba, he said team's been worn down a little bit. Need to get home, get that home cooking, and get ready for the postseason. And I would still think there's some ill effects of losing Gabe Freeman. Gabe went overseas to play ball. So some new faces in the lineup for this St. John team over the last couple of weeks, and they're trying to get them adjusted to their system. There's a shot there by Isom. He misses. Devon Maxwell. Brad States gets his first touch of the ball here, and this game comes up short. There's Devon, and he'll clean up the garbage below and gets the deuce. Wormley. Inside, Wormley gets it to Gord, and Taekwon Gord slams that one down. Session. Here's Anderson from three-point range. No good, and that's going to be a foul against the Island Storm. take a look at it here. And that was Brad States as he knocked down Gord. Warmly wants to drive. Pass there for Gord. Wasn't expecting it. And St. John, they turn it over. Anderson running the court. Tried to feed Franklin. And Franklin have a little word there. A little miscommunication between Session and Anderson. As Gord McNeely rejoins me up here.
Hi, Peter.
How you doing?
Good, my man.
13-6 lead for St. John. And that'll be St. John ball.
Yeah, good start by St. John. They just get into really good flows and hit open gem shots and knock them down. That's what they've been doing. So
had some problems of late. Only 1 of 6 in their last 7 games. And talking to Coach Taroba, it's because they've had to bring in a couple of new players. The loss of Gabe Freeman. There's a nice block there by Mad Max. Had to bring a couple of new players, getting them adjusted to their system. And then they've been on the road a little bit, so that's worn them down a tad here towards the end of this regular season. Here's Session into the paint. Can't lay it in. Back the other way. Morty, he kicks it out. Warmly going up against Session, going to drive, teardrop off the window and in.
yeah, it just had there was good spacing for him, and he just almost impossible to defend him one-on-one in that situation.
States goes baseline, and Brad States is fouled by Malcolm Miller.
Yeah, and good take by Brad States. I ran into his dad, who's sitting over in section 17. He came up from Bathurst for this game, so. And Brad's playing really well. Good minutes, controlled, playing like a second-year pro.
Yeah, he's had a real good second season here. And, you know, you notice such a big difference. You go back 2 years ago, 3 years ago when he was playing for UPEI. He's put on some muscle.
When he's hitting free throws, those two were important because that's where he's been really struggling a little bit from the line. So it's good for him to get 2 important ones there.
So 5:44 remaining here in the first quarter. Riptide up 15-8.
And they're extending the pressure. The States can do that, right? Which makes it more difficult for St. John to get a good shot. You see that?
Oh, they close down on Isom. Back the other way. Kimi Osei, he'll lay it in for 2.
And really that started with Brad States defending his defender at center court and messing everything up. Great defense by the Storm.
Their defensive game has gone up like several notches here over the last 3 or 4 weeks.
Well, they want to D up, and you can tell they're really focused in. And at some times in the season, we didn't always see that.
Here's Warmly, 5 on the shot clock. Warmly, bounce pass inside, and Gord slams that down. We just praised him on defense. A little bit of a breakdown there.
Well, you're in a pick and roll with Warmly. That's like, you might as well have, you know, that's like a Karl Malone and John Stockton pick and roll. What do you do? He's that good.
Mad Max in the paint. Knocks down Gord, and Mad Max is going to get charged for the charge.
Yeah, that's not a bad. Like, it's being Maxwell being aggressive and just a good defender got to the spot.
These two teams, they played on Thursday. They'll go at it once again.
Yeah.
Riptide by 7. Session with the steal, and he'll throw it down.
Oh, yeah.
So we know Franklin, he can play offense, but boy, he can be a real pain in the neck defensively. Oh, big time screen. As Franklin didn't see Gord there, and there's a shot from downtown by Miller.
Yeah, and that's he's a spot-up shooter, and he's really good at it.
Osei for 3. Comes out, loose ball, and that's going to go to the Storm.
And the Storm have made some good adjustments defensively to get a few steals in there. If your offense isn't clicking, that's what you need to do. You need to be that kind of a team, and you see it there.
Franklin with the robbery and the easy throwdown. You know, I read his story on the NBLC website, and boy, I should have known this, but I didn't know Franklin was 29 years of age. And just his story to get here, his first pro season. This is his first year playing pro basketball, and it's just amazing. And just an example of never giving up on your dreams.
Well, and we're super glad he came. What a great young man. He's done a lot for Charlottetown and the community, and we're thrilled to have such a great person in our community.
Boundary misses. And here's Franklin. Trying to turn the corner on Binney. And that'll be a foul on the former St. Mary's Husky, Marvin Binney.
And I think there's a lot of opponents out there that are glad that he didn't play for the last 8 years in this league. I mean,
Hall. Now in a Mad Max down low, and out of nowhere comes Gord and says, get that out of here. It's going to be Storm ball with 9 seconds remaining.
He makes a big difference, doesn't he? Weak side help blocker.
Look at this.
Whoa.
That was violent. 5 on the shot clock. Franklin going to put it up. And he's going to put it down.
He's hitting that in the first half. Oof. You knew he was going to do something there.
5-point lead now for the Riptide. 2:51 remaining in this first quarter. Here's Redpath, the former McMaster Marauder. Fadeaway is good, and this young man, he can shoot the ball.
He hurt them in St. John the last game. He hurt the Storm badly, and he just got hot. Look at the double team.
And there's a turnover. Binney has it. He'll slow things down. No, he wants to speed it up. Redpath. Inside, trying to find Gord. And that'll be St. John ball. 14 seconds left on the shot clock. Yeah, he really hurt them the other night. 21 points in that contest for Aaron Redpath, young man out of Ajax, Ontario.
Great Canadian content player. I really have a lot of time for him. Just works, and if he misses 10 shots, he's definitely thinking he's going to hit the next one. So, I mean, he's got that mentality. He's going to be a great pro. Or he is a great pro.
Binney almost got it snatched away from him by Session. Binney, Redpath, he'll try it for 3. Hit the iron. And that's gobbled up there by Bowdry. Miller working on States. Binney wide open, good look. And he missed that one severely. Session, no way. There's Hall, gets that offensive board. Putback's no good. Back to Franklin. Thought about shooting, he'll take it back out again. Wants to run a play here. And Franklin is fouled. And that'll be Marvin Binney. That's his second foul of this game.
Yeah, and good. You know, the Storm needed this to end the quarter. They needed Session to hit a shot, to get a layup or dunk, and to you know, assert himself as the leader going into this quarter time, because you know, this is a big game. This is an important game to get yourself ready for playoffs. You want to have that energy, and you've got to make sure you stay close and you really take care of business in the third quarter. And
Coach Kendrick, talking to him before the game, he likes the fact that they're going to end up playing the St. John team 3 times in a row, get that playoff atmosphere going, allow the guys to get those competitive juices with the playoffs just around the corner. So 22-17, and here's Gord, and that was violent. a one-handed slam, and he had all kinds of room to roam in the paint, and he slammed that one down hard with authority.
And Redpath made that happen. I mean, that's what he does. Burdine in there.
So Trinity Burdine, young man out of Holland College, he gets a couple as he makes his first appearance. Under a minute now in the first quarter, 24-19 lead for the Riptide. Wide open, Bowdery. That rattle around. There's Gord hustling, gets that offensive board. Bowdery, baseline, inside for Gord. He'll try it again. Loose ball, and then Burdine picks it up. Franklin throws it up, no good.
You got to get back here.
Here's Redpath. He'll swing it over. Morty. Bowdery. Again, another one rattles around for him, doesn't go down.
And last time St. John was here, they were hitting those shots. And today, not so much, but they're up 5.
Here's Franklin. You know he means business when he wipes off the soles of his shoes. Fadeaway 3. Hit the iron. That's going to do it for a quarter of play. So the Riptide in front, 24-19. And the St. John team shooting the ball pretty good here in the opening quarter.
They are. And you know what they did? They shot the ball well. Not maybe towards the second part of the first quarter, but what they did is they got offensive rebounds with Gordon and a few of the other players staying in and keeping the ball alive. So this is a very versatile team, and the Storm haven't really come to their identity in this game. Like they got a few steals at center and stuff, but they haven't really ran their half-court stuff very well, or really defended the penetrate and pitch from St. John. So they're lucky to be down 5. Now the second quarter, they need to talk about it and get things moving, get more playing your style of basketball at home. What is that?
And talking to Coach Taroba, he's been very impressed with Taekwon Gordon, what he's been able to do. Good defender, loves to rebound, lives for rebounding the ball, and you saw that on a couple of occasions there in that first quarter.
Incredible pickup by St. John. I mean, he's going to be a big-time player come playoffs. Like, he's got quite a bit of upswing. He just does everything well and good positioning.
I mentioned the fact that the St. John team, you know, Coach Taroba talking about they feel kind of worn down because they had been on a 4-game road trip. The other factor is in the month of March, they've played 16 games. So
whoa,
that's a lot of basketball that they have had to play. So they're hoping to get some downtime and get ready for the playoffs. Having said that, though, they still have 5 more games to go in the regular season. And you got a team like Moncton, only 3 more games. So Coach Joe Salerno is going to be able to rest some players there. Halifax, they have just 4 more regular season games remaining. So rest is going to be so key down the stretch as the playoffs are just around the corner. And there you see, great deal for Storm fans. Put down 40% on season tickets for next season. All their playoff tickets this season are they're free. So good deal, and the playoffs are going to be close at hand, and the Storm's still trying to figure out who they're going to face.
Yeah.
I mean, there's still a possibility. They've got 2 games in hand on Moncton that they could, you know, capture second place in the conference, in the division. So anything's possible from here on out. St. John are still in the mix. They too have 2 games in hand on Halifax.
Yeah. Just want to say hello to some fans from St. John and people watching in. Tanya, Lisa, Scott. Scott didn't love my Carl Malone analogy.
Carl Malone, Stockton.
It was a little bit over the top.
It was?
Yeah. He
well,
was
I mean,
right.
Hey, listen, when you talk pick and roll, I mean, who were the top 2 guys that, you know, who were the masters at pick and roll? Stockton and Malone.
Exactly.
So I'm going to defend you on that one.
Oh, thanks, Peter. And then Brian's online. We're reading your comments, so if you have any questions for Peter and I, feel free to ask and get involved with the broadcast.
Isom, that was a tough pass, but Nadondo makes it.
Great hook shot. Good form on that hook shot.
like Redpath, he's out of Ajax, Ontario. Franklin, he wants a screen. Here's Hall, the big man in the paint, puts it up. No good. Redpath gets that loose ball, and he'll move out. And that pass, it goes off the hand of, oh, I thought it went off of Osei's hand, but.
Yeah, I was watching that. I don't know. I think the refs got it right because I was like, ooh, that's going to be a tough one to call. So we'll see about the movement. Watch the movement on offense. They're trying to go to Session, make him create, but Osei, there's a little bit of action. So I'm looking for this to improve for the Storm right there.
And a foul on Carl Hall.
And they were working at a triangle there with 3 players, but the other players on the weak side have to move too. So you see Brad States at the top there and shooters up. You gotta play that side of the floor too. St. John is really good at playing both sides of the floor.
Storm on Thursday night, they shot just 66.7% from the free throw line. Can't make that good hustle there. Can't make the second one. Hall can't, but Burdine is there. Here's Hall into the post. Isom trying to defend him. Burdine, he was wide open. Drives, floats it up. And that rattled around and came out. And, wow, I'm shocked that they're going to call Burdine on the charge.
Yeah. There wasn't much room in there because Hall was in there. Brad States made a weak side cut. He was in underneath the basket, so.
Good crowd on hand here at Eastlink Center. Baudry, as he tried to feed Isom, couldn't handle it. Burdine back the other way. And Burdine is fouled by Redpath. As you see Aaron Redpath, as he's talking to himself.
He's not happy, but Burdine picked it up early. Watch, he picked it. He went to the right side of the floor. That was a little bit of a mistake. And then Redpath had a good case. If you're watching the NCAA games last night, which were fantastic, defensive masterpieces, that Michigan game, you saw plays like that, and the refs didn't call them. They didn't call when the foul was up front. If a defender had got his hands on it, they let it go. So the defense can play a lot harder that way. So.
As you see here, Redpath, he continues his Tim Hortons coffee chat there with the referee.
Well, you got to make your case. He has a case. I mean, there was contact, yes, but I mean, where was it initiated from? He was just doing his job.
Dondo can't convert. Kimmy Osei's been getting a lot of playing time of late from Tim Kendrick.
Yeah,
Franklin.
He's going to because Tyler Scott's not in and Chris Johnson.
From downtown, that's Osei, and there's Mad Max with the putback. And Mad Max getting pumped up.
He is. And maybe he might have struggled a little bit in that first quarter, but that's a big basket for him.
Look at that game face.
Oh, I tell you. It'd be a good bobblehead doll face.
Yeah. Ron Maxwell, what a great season for the young man at NYC. And there's Morty. And trying to see what the call is here. As you take a look.
Yeah.
Take a look at that call right there. So it's going to be Storm ball. And we're tied at 26, so Storm got off to a little bit of a slow start, something that we saw in that last game that we did against Cape Breton. Devon trying to back down his man. There's a baseline shot, loose ball, and that'll be Storm ball. 8 seconds remaining on the shot clock.
Yeah, and the Storm, you're going to have ups and downs like that because they're not – they're playing with their talent and their athleticism and, you know, first and foremost. So they're looking for those things. You're going to make mistakes that way, but you can win a lot of games as well.
Anderson step back. And amid, he gets the rebound. Back the other way. In the corner for Miller. Maxwell all over him defensively. Amid's going to set a screen on Burdine, and that's going to be a foul on Amid.
Yeah, when that post player has to set a screen and the dribbler is moving around a little bit in front of him, it makes him shift and move to try to hit the screen. And that's when those post players, those 4s and 5s, pick up fouls just like that one.
Tied at 26. Here's a drive by Anderson. Window and in.
Wow, and that's because Amid just left the game. So there was no rim protection there. And then the Storm take advantage of it. St. John has to talk about it, so they're going to be calling timeout. What a drive. You see, that's a mismatch by Anderson. Beautifully exploited.
And Tim Kendrick said the last couple of weeks, Anderson has just taken his game to a whole new level for the Storm. Great addition for them, bringing in Chris Anderson out of Muskegon, Michigan. Played his college ball at Louisiana Tech. And there you see the great offer that the Storm have for the fans here in Charlottetown. Free playoff tickets if you put down 40% on 2018-2019 season tickets. So good deal, and there's going to be a lot of excitement here in Charlottetown over the next little while with the playoffs at hand. Don't really know who they're going to play in the first round. It could be this St. John team. It could be Moncton. Moncton would be very interesting.
Yeah.
Joe Salerno, who coached this Storm team for a number of years. You know, that's a built-in rivalry right there. And that Moncton team, they play a strong, sturdy type of defensive ball.
Oof, yeah, it's any team, those 4 teams in the Atlantic, man, I don't know.
You know,
it's going to be a
pick your poison.
Oh yeah, they're so strong. Yeah. Kaylee Miller, oh, she loves him so much, baby. She's talking about Miller time. Malcolm Miller.
Malcolm Miller.
Yeah. So we like his game too.
Yeah, out of Midland.
My goodness.
Yeah, Midland, Texas, went to Southern University. I mentioned, boy, he is just shooting the lights out this season. 48.1% from the field. He's averaged 18.4 points per game, 5.8 rebounds.
Yeah, so that's a nice shout out, Kayla. Like, thanks a lot for commenting in, and we love all these athletes in this league.
Coach Taroba said to me earlier today, you know, does not have to worry about number 33.
No. I mean, just a high-quality pro. Really enjoy watching him.
Storm by 2 now. 7:42 remaining in the second quarter. The big man, Hall, going up against Gord once again. Mad Max, and Mad Max, he was tight-roping that baseline and then didn't have anywhere to go, so he slammed it off of Miller.
And Burdine in that 3 spot has to get to the baseline. See how high he is on the weak side, so when that penetration comes, he can't hit that cross-court pass. It's got to be a shift to the baseline there.
Mad Max just knocked that one off the head of Miller. Stunned him a little bit. He seems to be okay. He's back in there. 4 on the shot clock from downtown.
And that's
big-time shot by Anderson.
That's the difference. You were talking about Coach putting confidence in this guy. He can hit bombs from the perimeter. That's your 4 spot hitting that 3.
Great versatility from Chris Anderson. And it's now, boom, just like that, a 31-26 lead for the Storm. Here's Gorb going baseline. Too much on that one. And Mad Max will run the court here. He got held there. Now, he took a look at the referee after warmly held his hand.
Well, this is a mismatch here.
For Anderson, below the bucket. Hall, window and in. He's going to go to the line.
My goodness. Yeah, there's so many good things happening on that. Like, Wormley was guarding Maxwell.
Yeah.
And then you know, Maxwell has the smarts to put it into Anderson and then to Hall. I mean, so your guys, you're 6'8", 6'8", 6'8", and all three of them touch it on a modified fast break.
But it was really comical there because Wormley had Mad Max by the wrist in front of the referee, and then while he got the ball, he was having a conversation with the referee saying, "Hey, you're not going to call that?" Anyways, it worked out for the Storm, and they have a 34-26 lead.
Tisdale can't keep that one, but it was the right idea. I thought that play was open too. Important time of the game for St. John right now. They've got to make sure they can stay close with the Storm team. Just an enormous amount of size on the floor for the Storm right now.
Man, I don't think they've ever played this big before all season long. Baseline, little hook shot, and the roll goes for Carl Hall. Do you ever recall them playing this big this season? They've never had that type of size.
And I see Mishak Lufau's about to check in. Good for that young man.
There's a drive by Wormley and a big-time rejection as Carl Hall got up there and swatted that one away. So Mishak is going to check in. Hall will sit down and take a breather. Some good minutes from 50. And it's nice to see Mishak Lufau get some time. He went down with that high ankle sprain, and he's been trying to work himself back into the lineup, but he's going to be a big factor. You're going to have to spell Hall at times come playoff time, and Mishak Lufau need to get him some action because he could be a big help for this Storm team.
Well, he's going to go in and play hard, and he's not in it for anything else than to help his team win, and that's really important come playoff time. You got someone like that, a great young man. He's a great team player. I mean, I've heard nothing but great things about him, and I know he's got a big following. Probably a big following watching this game right now. So, and listen, want to send a big shout out, an important shout out today.
We already did, but do it again. Yeah, go ahead, do it again.
Okay, they can compare your shout out to my shout out. Beverly Ann is watching at home, and as Peter probably said before, great. She's so unselfish. She's here. She loves these guys. Is like
big supporter of this team.
Big supporter, and does everything she can for the Island Storm team. So
she's feeling a little under the weather, I understand. So
we miss you here, and thanks for watching in. And now they can compare Peter's.
Yours is probably better. Yours is probably a little bit better. Yeah.
Peter, you just got compared to the Toronto Raptors announcer here today.
Well,
online.
Come on,
that's big time.
I appreciate that.
So that's Matt Devlin and Peter. This isn't Peter professional. He's awesome. Anyway, so listen.
I'll give you the $50 later.
They jumped this up to a 10-point game. That was a good timeout by St. John. They really had some mismatch issues there. St. John did so. And Mishak did come in for Hall.
Wormley with the inbounds here for St. John. Gets it back out to Isom. Wormley into the paint, drives, and Mishak fouls him. And Wormley, I tell you, he's a small man, but a heart of gold, a big heart, and he's having a good season as well. And this guy, he's been around for a bit. And he's played in China, played in Germany. And you got to be tough if you're that size playing basketball at the professional level.
Oh, absolutely.
And, you know, he's had to pick up some of the slack with Gabe Freeman leaving the team to go overseas and play. He's had to take on more of a leadership responsibility. And talking to Coach Taroba, he goes, he can't say enough good things about Horace Wormley.
Yeah, I really enjoy him. I can't say a better point guard. There's 3 or 4 top ones in the league, and he's definitely up there.
So a travel call on Devon Maxwell. 36-28 lead for the Storm. They got off to a slow start. They've found their sea legs, I guess you could say, in this one. Here is Isom, and Isom drains it. That is a long three for number 33, Isom out of Austin, Texas.
And that's what Wormley does. He runs that You got to study that for those young players out there. Just study what he just did. He made it look so simple. Got his teammate a wide open look, and then they knock it down. They just believe in each other.
And now Franklin Session will come in.
Yeah, to guard Warmly.
Kimi Osei, fade away, and it's good. And Kimi Osei, with each passing game, his confidence has just grown and grown. And the one thing that Coach Kendrick said, he is a coachable player. Miller, baseline, kicks it out. Bowdry, his pass. Isom from downtown, and Isom, he's knocked down a couple of trays here in the last little while.
Yeah, great. Now he's hot. With Isom hot, that could mean big trouble for the Storm here. You got to figure out where he is and can't leave him.
Mishak bullies his way to the rack. Can't get it to roll.
Good take. He had the mismatch.
Bowdry. Mishak trying to guard him. Bowdry's going to drive. Window and in.
Yeah, good take. I mean, he just used his body very well and just got one to rattle in. So you see how fast St. John's able to eliminate a 10-point gap.
Anderson downtown again. And that's Morty with the rebound for St. John. Look at a spin move here by Warmly. Kicks it out. Bowdry from the corner. And Bowdry is feeling it as well. So Bowdry and Isom.
Need a timeout or something going on here. 3:43 left.
Bowdry and Isom got it going on for St. John. Maxwell kicks it out. And Mishak Lufile showing that he can hit the triple.
Big shot there by Mishak. That's what he does. He hits that short and that medium range jump shot very well from that baseline side. And you need a stop here. You need to send a message to St. John. They can't run rampant.
And as soon as you say that, Warmly says, yeah, we'll see about that.
And that's the case that nobody wants to help anymore because 3 different guys hit shots. So they're not going to help. And then Warmly just like, okay, let's play a little game of skunk here. Man, Warmly is good. He just facilitated that whole 2-minute masterpiece of basketball for St. John.
He's averaging 13.3 points per game this season, 4.5 rebounds. Talked about how well Malcolm Miller has shot the ball. Well, you've got Horace Warmly shooting 47.6% from the field going into this game. So he doesn't miss too much.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I like about St. John? You're on the road. Okay, so you're down 10. You don't panic. Timeout comes. And then you systematically get back in the game. They didn't expand an incredible amount of energy. They just hit shots. You know, and that's what I like about the St. John team. They're never going to be out of the game. They're just going to run their stuff and make sure they get in the game and give themselves a chance to fight at the end.
Here's Warmly working on Franklin Session. Those two met each other, I would think, a number of times in the Drew League in Los Angeles.
Look at Warmly's not even playing. He is out talking to the ref. He didn't even bother taking a position. Because he's talking about Maxwell's reach in. And that's when Maxwell reached in off that pick, on that switch, he got hit pretty good.
It's going to be Storm ball here. Tied at 41. Late stages of the second quarter. Hall looking for some options.
There's a double.
Osei, Warmly's got a hand in his face. Hall trying to make a move on Isom. And that's going to be Riptide ball. And there you see Hall saying, I got slapped on the wrist, on the forearm. Not going to get the call.
No, but that same thing happened to Warmly in the other end. So the refs are probably just trying to even things out there.
Warmly thought about the 3. Going to drive on Session. Over here for Miller. And boy, you got Miller, you got Isom, you got Bowdry. They're all knocking down those outside shots.
They're doing it like they're shooting layups. Like, that is, like I said, there's another word for it than like systematic.
And Kimeose is going to get charged with a foul as he bulldozed Isom. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good take by Isom. I mean, you know, that's what St. John does, is they believe in all 5 players. The Storm, you know where you're going to get your offense from primarily. 1, 2, 3, 4 different players.
Look at Horace Wormley. He's putting on a show here this afternoon, folks, out of Vanguard University.
Holy.
Devon Maxwell.
Good answer.
1, 2, 3. Back the other way, Miller with a two-handed slam, and the Island Storm, they fell asleep defensively. They did not get back there on that play. Inside for Hall, he loses the handle. Wormley saves it.
Wow. 1 minute left, and that's a 15-point turnaround from that timeout we had about the 5-minute mark. Look at the ball handle and defense there by Sesh. Sesh is not going to let him touch it again.
Miller. This is Morty. He came off a screen, tried to make a pass, lost it, gets it back again. Morty, too strong. 39 seconds now remaining in the second quarter. Riptide, they turned it around in quick fashion. Trying to find the words there to describe how they came back in this game. And now they have themselves a 4-point lead.
If you're Malcolm Miller, no need to foul that. There was nothing. He grabbed Maxwell's arm.
So Redpath is going to check back in, and Jeremiah Morty will take a seat here.
What a shooting performance in the last 6 minutes. You know, just perfect footwork, right up to the footwork, to the hips, the shoulder, perfect elbows, and that ball, like each one of those shooters, that ball didn't even touch the rim, any of those threes. So it's very, you know that they're getting good shots.
Good hustle by Hall off that free throw. Bowdry trying to defend Hall. Here's Osei looking for some real estate. Maxwell, deep three, and knocking it down with authority. Mad Max.
4 seconds here.
Bowdry drives, all kinds of Storm players converged on him, and now Maxwell and Bowdry, they have a couple of words, and cooler heads will prevail. And Devon Maxwell, he has got his game face on. He's
well, you didn't see the bobblehead doll.
He is ready for the playoffs, I think. And there you have it, 48 apiece after 2 quarters. Geez, I looked up at the clock and I said, is that 2 quarters in the books? And it is. So 48 apiece, but you got to give the Riptide some credit. They've come back in this game, and they really were knocking down their outside shots.
Oh, yeah. They took a great timeout. They really came out calm, and the Storm kind of maybe didn't have the right personnel to guard Wormley's pick screening action at the top. And it really hurt them when all their shooters got hot.
Okay, we'll take a break, come back in about 15 minutes time, get the third quarter underway for you at the break. 48 apiece, Riptide and the Storm. Back with more in just a bit, folks. Stick with us.
I almost blanked out there because I thought, where are they going? I didn't know that was the half. I thought, okay, we got another quarter, right? That was fast. I don't know what we're done here, guys. Wow, that took an hour. Wow, yeah, exactly. They're not playing the defense that we saw there the last couple of games. Man. 48. All right. You want anything? No, I'm good, man.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Eastlink Center. We're about ready to get going. Third quarter action. We're tied at 48 apiece. Storm came out very cold in the first quarter of this game. Got on a bit of a run, but the Riptide getting some great outside shooting from the likes of Redpath, Beaudry, and they've climbed back into this one. Isom also knocked down some threes, and it's 48 apiece here between the Storm and the Riptide. These two teams will go at it again in a couple of days' time on the 27th in St. John, and they'll end up playing 3 games in a row against each other. Well, at least for the Island Storm, they'll play 3 games in a row against the Riptide. St. John, they played last night against Halifax and lost 90-82. These two teams, they played on Thursday in St. John, and it was really no contest. 118-96 victory for the St. John Riptide. And the St. John team just 1 win in their last 6 games. Island Storm in that game on Thursday, they had their 8-game winning streak snapped. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. As far as the season series is concerned between these two teams, the Storm, they've won 4 out of 6 against the Riptide. And before that game on Thursday, the last time that St. John had won a game against the Island Storm, you have to go back to January the 14th, a 107-102 victory for the Riptide over the Island Storm. And Gord, you'd like to see, I would think, some better defense from the Storm here in the second half?
Yeah, more. I mean, look, the Storm have 9 assists. Okay, Wormley has 8 assists on his own.
Yeah.
So that says a lot. You know, you got to make sure that ball moves and you get shots off of the pass.
And good defensive stand there by the Storm to start this third quarter off. Franklin directing traffic. Mad Max, he's going to shoot a 3. Missed that one. And Morty has it on the defensive rebound. Miller trying to break down Devon Maxwell. And Wormley, who's had a great game so far. Mid, that was almost a miscue. It bounces right back to Wormley. Shot clock running down. And the Storm, they'll push it up the court. Osei. Maxwell gets it down deep for Hall. Hall working on a mid. Little baby hook.
Beautiful. But you notice how St. John, when they come back and play defense, all 5 of their guys have their back to the baseline or the basket. That means that there's not a lot of movement going on from the Storm, so that's got to improve.
Into the paint for Ali Ahmed. And that hit the iron and came out.
So they get back and they set, and the Storm needs to get some weak side movement going.
Franklin, he'll toss up a tray, and Franklin.
Never mind, Peter.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, just throw that plan out of the way. Just give Franklin the ball, let him jack up a 3.
I don't even know why they bring us here.
So Franklin Session hitting that one, 53-48 for the Storm. Early going of this third quarter. Miller from the corner. Miller making it look easy.
Yeah. A rare kind of in-between. He stepped in about 3 feet from the three-point line. That becomes almost automatic for him. Just a smooth stroke.
Miller, he had 13 points in that first half. He had Wormley with 8 points, and as you mentioned, Gord, he had 8 dimes in that first half for St. John. Leading the way, Devon Maxwell for the Storm with 11 points, 4 rebounds.
Oh, no.
And now Ahmed, he took a little bit of a shot at Devon Maxwell.
And I'm watching it, and you know.
And now Malcolm Miller is trying to calm Ali Ahmed down.
And that is, you know, watch this. Maxwell comes and watch his foot. Did you see his right foot? So, you know what? Amid has a right to do that because what Maxwell did was to dunk the ball after the whistle, first of all, is not good. And then to extend your leg out is a double not good. So, I mean, you might look at it and say, well, Amid's a hothead or whatever. No way. That was provocated.
Let's take a look at it once again. There's Hall backing down to mid. He goes down. Oh, yeah. Yeah, and
yeah, and normally knows it. They know it. You know, it's one of those things. Mordai was in there. You know, and Maxwell just has been. We said like has been focused or upset or something is fueling his fire today.
Yeah, well, there's been a bee under his bonnet the whole afternoon, and now has Ali. I don't think he's been kicked out of the game. He's just coming out, right?
No, I mean, he's on his back, and then he gets a foot in his shoulder after somebody's dunking it after the whistle. You know, like, but that's just how I see it. Like, so, I mean, I'm just trying to call it as honestly as we kind of can here. You know, so they'll see the tape afterwards, and they can make their own judgments, and the coaches will have to watch that play.
Now, Miller is getting into it here, verbal jousting with Devon Maxwell. And let's see if we can get this resolved here and get back to playing. And now Coach Taroba being asked to come over by one of the officials for a conversation.
Yeah, and let us know online what you guys think. We got it open. You know, you can. This is the time where you can kind of decide yourself. You saw the replay from the great crew here, up in the booth, and
they're still talking things over. And let's see. And okay, we're still going to have another board meeting here.
You know, trying to figure out. I don't know if they've even 2 shots. The ref just signals he's going to get 2 shots. I think there's probably, like, Maxwell should get a technical, and there should be another. Yeah, Mid should get a technical as well.
Boy, we're getting a lot of meetings going on here.
But Tim Kendrick does not look happy over there. He had his hands on his head. He's talking to the refs.
So now Hall will go to the line, and I'm thinking I'm confused here. Now, is this a technical?
I don't know what this is. And Maxwell's still talking to the ref on the very front of your screen there. It's 1 and 2, so
okay, so
maybe it was just the 2 shots. Maybe a common
foul. Yeah. So I don't understand why Coach Kendrick was upset, but anyways, we're going to move on here, and there's Isom. He comes right back. Knocks down that shot. Storm by 2.
Well, I think Coach Kendrick wanted something on that punch, or that
oh,
push.
Okay, yes, yeah.
And he was like, well, he punched him. Pushed him, or whatever you want to call, like that push away punch. But we kind of saw it afterwards and said, you know what, that was.
Now I'm looking at a Mid here. He's put a sweatshirt on and he's heading to the dressing room. So maybe he's kicked out. Not getting a lot of information up here, but he's going to the dressing room. Maxwell spin move off the window, can't get the roll, back again. And second opportunity, and Mad Max gets the deuce. So I'm thinking Ali Amid is out of this game for St. John. So that'll leave them a little short-handed here. Storm by 4, 56-52. Warmly. And Warmly is going to get charged with a travel.
Yeah, and good defense by Session there.
You see Mad Max on this replay here, stays with it.
Whoa.
And there's Franklin as he drains that 3 ball.
Damn, that was fast. That was a quick
The
release.
bow and arrow or the shot?
Well, I mean,
both.
We've seen it so many times with so many threes that they're both fast. But incredible.
Wormley gets it back again. Wormley working on Franklin, drives. And Horace Wormley is fouled, and he'll head to the line.
Yeah, and that Wormley's going to come back and say, you know, I got a little game of my own here. So that's neat to watch that matchup between those two athletes all game long, because there's another game going on, the big game, but they're like, to watch these two go at it is pretty special.
Wormley played in the G League with the South Bay Lakers back in 09-10. As I mentioned before, played in China, he's played in Germany. They call him the gingerbread man. And he's had a solid game here so far this afternoon. Here's Franklin. Triple's no good. Miller gets the rebound, and then Devon Maxwell with a reach-in foul. Third foul against Devon here this afternoon.
Yeah, just got him on a reach in. Not much else you can say about that. I think after a play like that where there's a kind of a technical, there's a 5-minute break in between, the refs are going to pick up the calling.
Wormley threw it up for Gord, and Gord went down very hard. He's clutching his head as Taekwon Gord hit the deck hard.
Yeah, you see it there at the end with his right hand. Anderson came through.
So it's a foul on the floor.
I don't know how that cannot be a shooting foul.
And that's what Coach Taroba, he's over there talking to the official.
It's weird.
14 on the shot clock. Wormley with the inbounds pass. Ice him. Miller, as he tried to feed Gord, it's picked off by Maxwell. No look pass for Session. You're going to slow it down here in the half court. Osei into the paint. Finds Mad Max. All alone, Maxwell hiding along the baseline, and he got fed by Osei.
Listen, Osei had so much patience on that play. Head up. He knew he had Wormley on him. Just made a nice play to find it. Everybody was watching Osei and just made the right decision. So timeout, St. John, 8-point lead. Wow. Good start to this third quarter.
So the Storm, they've opened up this third quarter in fine fashion. And once again, folks, got to remind you about playoff tickets. Playoffs just around the corner. And you put down 40% on 2018-2019 season tickets, you'll get playoff tickets this year free, no cost to you. And it's a pretty good deal, and you'll see some excellent basketball.
Yeah, and I mean, look, the Storm's making a presentation at center, and I was down there earlier. I was on the chair of the United Way. We're down there making a presentation. I mean, they have the Easter Seals here. They're supporting the NHL Legends of Hockey here in Summerside at the Credit Union Place on March 28th. These programs are so important for the community, and what the Storm do is incredible. So it really brings us together, and it's great to be part of it.
Yeah, if you're going to run a professional sports team, I don't care what sport it's in. It could be handball for, you know, all it could be. But you got to get involved in the community.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to give back to the community. And this Storm team, they're very good at that. They've had special days for different groups in the community. over the course of the season, so they've done their part.
Oh, yeah. And this season, like I talked to Coach Kendrick before, and he's like, look, the first time that the Storms are winning like close to 18, 19 games in the season. So, I mean, he's had a very good inaugural season. A little dip in the middle of it there with injuries and issues and stuff. But, I mean, this program is going places, and, you know, so is St. John with the additions of young players coming in there and some different blood and some good nucleus there.
As you see Coach Kendrick having a chat there with Devon Maxwell. And, you know, he's a player's coach. He's a guy that, I mean, you want to play for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And then, you know, the Atlantic Division's gaining another team next year, I do believe, the Newfoundland team.
The Edge are going to come here, and I believe next season there's a team in Sudbury.
Yeah, that's a for sure thing, I do believe. Like, anything can happen, obviously, but it's going to be nice to see Carl English and and to see this.
See, I'm kicking myself in the pants because our first broadcast of the season I couldn't do. I had other obligations, and it was against St. John's.
Yeah.
And that was a game that I really wanted to see because I've seen Carl English a little bit on television over the years with the national team. He's played mostly in Europe, and it would have been a treat to see him because he's still got game. He can play in this league. There's no doubt about that. And that St. John's team, they have done wonders. They're getting 4,000 fans at Mile 1. And great to have St. John's in the league.
Trying to post up Warmly here.
Osei fighting with Warmly. Back to Mad Max. Puts it on the deck. Kicks it out. Anderson, good ball movement. Nice fake by Osei. And the jumper is good.
Well, that's what St. John was doing to them for quite a bit of the second quarter. So that was probably the best ball movement we've seen out of the Storm team this game. So that was a really good sign.
Storm by 10. We saw that quite often the last home game against Cape Breton. They really moved the ball around, shared it, ran through some plays. They didn't rush things offensively, and they were rewarded with a victory in that game. So foul against the Storm. Redpath will come over here to inbounds the ball. Try to get it to Warmly, and it goes off of Franklin Session, off of his hand. Boy, and as you mentioned, this is a real interesting matchup between these two guys here, Warmly and Session.
Like, Warmly was just going to get the ball. Like, and look at the defense. The extension of the defense. That's what you have to do against Warmly. Now he's got 8 seconds to shoot on the shot clock.
4 on the clock, drives the lane. Whoa, that was too easy.
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe there's too much time. Amazing.
Forrest Warmly having a great game here. There's the alley, no oop there. As the Storm turn over the ball.
I'd like to see them get a little bit. They just came off what I said was their best possession of the game, and then they turn it over on a silly alley-oop pass.
From the corner, Miller draining it, and Miller from the corner, no problems with that shot.
And what drives me crazy is this is after a timeout. So St. John calls a timeout. They come down and score in the first possession, hit a 3, and then we turn the ball over. So, you know, after those timeouts, make sure you're focused and ready to play.
63-58 for the Storm. Mad Max off the eye. There's Brad States doing the dirty work and getting that loose ball.
He just needed to go right back up and in with that. He's not even looking at the basket. I'd like to see him really.
And a foul against Forrest Warmly as he shakes his head. So 14 on the shot clock. Marvin Binney is going to check in here. He'll take over at the point as Horace Warmly will sit down and get a little bit of a breather. Franklin tried to feed States, and it'll be Storm ball. 7 on the shot clock. Maxwell. Oh, that's an off-balance shot. He's fouled by Bowdry.
Yeah, and I think the Storm, like, they did a good job. Just put Maxwell in the post and let him take it. You cannot guard him 15 feet and in from the basket. So he just puts his hand up and then takes it strong and creates mismatches all over the place. So that's the Storm, what they do when they need a basket. They have to go to him and get him the ball in good position.
One thing, you know, we're so impressed, and we've been impressed all season long, the play of Franklin, Session, and Devon Maxwell and what they've done offensively. But I don't think they get near enough credit for what they do defensively. I mean, they're real lockdown guys. I mean, they really pay a lot of attention to their defensive game. You
can't. That was such an excellent comment because Maxwell's leading the league, well, maybe close to leading the league in blocks, and set a new record with 15, 20 games to go in the season for amount of blocks. So
Redpath was off balance on that shot. Tried to follow it up. Here's Osei. He wants to start a break. Osei going coast to coast, and he's fouled. And Kimi Osei, he'll shoot a pair.
Oh, great play by him. Just to keep, he knows that's the time where you drive. St. John's not set defensively. Great rebound, and you just push it.
Montreal native, played his college ball at Little Rock, Arkansas. As Tim Kendrick will talk things over, timeout called here by the Storm.
Yeah, and when Wormley comes off, the quality of the shots as the team goes down. And you saw it with Redpath's shot, which led to the fast break. So you got to weather the storm. Like St. John played last night against a tough Halifax team. I mean, I think it was last night.
It was last night, yeah.
Life is falling into a mere hours now.
Yeah.
But I mean, that game they were up big in that game, and then Halifax came storming back.
Yeah.
I mean, so they got to be tired. Then you get on the road, and then poof, you're in Charlottetown the next day at 2.
Well, I mean, the fourth quarter was simply a disaster for St. John. I mean, it was 36-13 in favor of Halifax, and didn't sink their three throws. They got to the line 15 times. They were 10 of 15, 66.7%. So, yeah, they were playing a pretty good game up until the fourth quarter. And you know that Halifax team, they got so much depth. And they kind of put it to St. John in that fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
And this St. John team, 1-6, or one win in their last 6 games. 6-12 on the road. Meanwhile, the Storm at home, 10-9. As we've got 3:56 remaining in the third quarter, and the Island Storm with a 65-58 lead over St. John. Much better defensively. You like the way they played defensively here so far in this third quarter, the Storm?
Yeah, like defensively, and then they had a few. You know, the Storm, like, I look at them defensively too, but I also look at them moving the ball. So if I see good defense and then a possession like we did about 4 minutes ago where they actually moved the ball, got a great jump shot, then I'm like, oh, the Storm are going to be clicking here. Defensively, yeah, they're adjusting. They're taking away shots. They're not allowing penetration. Wormley's having a tougher time going to the basket and getting into those lanes for the most part. And that's what the Storm have to do is keep people out of the lanes because a team like St. John penetrates in, pitches to the other side, and these shooters only need about, a fraction of a second to get their shot up, and it's going down.
So now 67-58. Arvin Binney, Session trying to shut him down. Binney wants to drive, and a foul against Franklin.
And Binney's not happy, yelling at Miller there, but Session gave him all he had there.
And now St. John, they want to talk things over as Miller and that's number 10, Gore. They discuss things. There's Aaron Redpath. Is everybody trying to get on the same page with the St. John team?
Yeah, and a lot of times that happens when you know, these guys are battling down there. You can imagine if people haven't played basketball, it's like your adrenaline spikes up to 100, and then it's always, you always want to keep it going higher and higher and higher. And that's what that conversation is. Like, adrenaline's running, and you're saying like, hey man, you got to get over to the left, right side of the court. Okay, you know, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But it's just, they need to be heard. They need to work some of that out. So.
Storm by 7. Session. Here comes Osei off a screen, and Kimmy Osei. Did I mention it his confidence at all-time high this season?
Whoa. That looked really, really textbook.
From the corner, Bowdry, that came out, put back by Gord, and he gets hacked by Brad States. And Brad States is going, who me? Also,
yeah, and
that's Osei with the foul.
Okay, Gore he's a good rebounder, good offensive rebounder there, because he just got position, was able to keep it, and then he's going to the line. So big points for his team right here.
And he makes both. 70-62 Storm. Maxwell, baseline, that's swatted away by Gord. Gord's doing it at both ends of the court here this afternoon for St. John. Osei with the inbound. Mad Max, or excuse me, that's Franklin Session. Missed that one, and back the other way. Burdine read that perfectly, picked it up. States, Osei. Maxwell, his shot doesn't go. And now Malcolm Miller wants to settle things down for the Riptide, and there's a foul on Gord as he's trying to set a screen on Burdine.
And why would you do that? You know, like Burdine that's the difference, is that he could have rearranged Burdine's spine right there. Watch this. Dun, 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 dun. Whoa, hello. You know, that's hard to, and that's why Burdine needs to get in there and get 12 to 15 pounds on this offseason. If he does, you'll be able to take that.
Yeah, he's slender, a little slender for pro ball.
Well, he'll get it on. He'll do his work. But talent, holy smokes!
So Gord has to check out as you see him. None too pleased, and Franklin will head to the line here for the Island Storm.
And you don't, if nobody's done that, like when you get hit with that, all that person setting that screen has to do is flex their muscles. So you wouldn't see it, but if they flex their muscles and you hit that, that's like a wall, you know. And that's what happened right there. Gord just flexed his muscles, bang, Burdine hit him, and it's just a really dangerous play.
Osei hit the iron. Session in there for the offensive board. Franklin down the lane to States. He gets hacked. That was number 34. Adondo, I think that might have got a hand on him.
That is super quick. And you know, Peter, that Session going left. I know how quick he is right. He's like the fastest person in Canada going right on that. But that speed going left, wow. He went left hard, boom, little dump pass. That's good basketball.
Loose ball, there's Franklin as he grabs it off the missed free throw. States, Nadondo working on States. Now comes to Mad Max. And Mad Max, whoa.
Oh, there's two different calls here.
He and Morty kind of collided. And I think Morty got a piece of Devon Maxwell's elbow. Boy, Devon Maxwell's been involved in a couple of situations here this afternoon.
Top ref called an offensive foul. Bottom ref called an intentional foul, or a holding foul.
Watch it here. He got his hand up in the face, and then he gave him an elbow. And Jeremiah Morty was none too pleased. A couple of guys from New York City, although Morty was born in Lagos, Nigeria, moved to New York. So a couple of NYC boys going at it.
And Maxwell has to be careful. You cannot get your hands up in that. That is not allowed in the basketball culture of things. You cannot.
So I guess the foul was against Morty. Wow, I'm a little confused. But anyways, Von Maxwell heading to the line. Now, is it me, or did you think the foul was going to be against Devon Maxwell?
Absolutely against Devon Maxwell, unless there was body contact down low. Okay, so like it was a physical play, but then when that hand releases.
So this is a technical then, is it? Because they're going to take it on the side.
That was a technical foul because on that second hit or something happened. Like I said, remember the two refs called different things. Right. I thought the top ref called offensive foul. I'm pretty sure he called the foul on Maxwell, and the second ref overruled him.
Okay.
So,
anyways, just saw a nice drive by Franklin Session. Benny going to return the favor, and Benny is fouled. Yeah, I was totally confused. There's been a couple of calls here this afternoon that, just did not understand whatsoever.
And I'm not sure what Taroba, I mean, if I were Taroba, I would be taking that Gatorade container and throwing it somewhere. Like, then that's the thing is like, that's how frustrating that is, and how fast it happens in basketball. Like that was a very difficult play to ref, and I'm not sure if things were evened out.
That's a diplomatic way to say it. Late stages of the third quarter, 75-63 lead for the Storm. Hall on the perimeter, wants to get deep, drives, and he's fouled. Nadondo will get charged with the foul.
Where did that come from? Where did that dribbling skills by Hall come from?
The big man
crossover up top.
Yeah, he's versatile.
What? See, that was a good basketball player. The defender was in the right spot. They were chest to chest. There was contact there. I mean, there was nothing but that. There's no argument there. That's what that is. So, I mean, I'd like to see more of that than the other stuff. The hands flailing and the pushing and the.
So Hall makes one of two, and then a steal by Franklin.
Whoa.
And Franklin Session.
You can't. Wow.
Good hustle, good read by Session. Back the other way, Benny windowing in.
And they're not going to bring Wormley back in till the fourth quarter, and that's what a big part of the problem was on this run.
Yeah, having Wormley out of there.
Well, it just doesn't feel normal. The St. John, basketball play. It just doesn't. It feels like something's off.
Oh, nice tip by Brad States. Yeah, they're out of kilter without number 4 in there. Here's Benny. Move it around, red path, finds Benny open, thought about shooting a 3. 26 seconds remaining in the quarter, 5 on the shot clock. That shot's no good. And now Franklin will push it up. Bourdin gonna drive, and he gets knocked down hard, as that was Bowdry. Put up a roadblock there.
Yeah, good take. Bourdin's going right at the basket on that play. Again, the foul's out front. Let's watch contact. Okay, yeah, the 21, we couldn't see from that angle. That's why when people are watching, you're like, well, that's a bad call, ref. But we can't see what happened over there if there was contact. And that's why it's when you're cheering your team on, when you're like, oh, these refs are bad. Like, if you don't have the proper angles, you can't always make those calls.
You saw Franklin go over and pat Bourdin on the back of the head there.
Yeah.
And, boy, what a great first year for a guy like Trinity Bourdin to come in here and be mentored by Devon Maxwell, by a Franklin Session. You're going to get your basketball education playing with those two guys. So 10.9 seconds remaining here in the third quarter.
So the Storm have really turned it on here this third quarter.
Somebody needs to inbound the ball here, folks. I don't know what the holdup here is. Okay. Something to do with the clock, maybe. Anyways, we'll get going here.
Can't even get through the screen. That's how physical it is.
Oh, look at Redpath. He gets it, though, to Nadondo, and he knocks it down. Redpath was surrounded by two Storm players. Oh, and that was Burdine almost tipped it in. I don't know if that was going to go in if he hadn't touched it. I don't know what the situation was there from our angle, but anyways, it was close. So after 3 quarters, the Storm looking very comfortable here, 82-67, and boy, they came out of the gates looking really good, and there's Burdine trying to tip that one in. They came out of the gates looking really good. That was a good quarter of basketball from the Storm.
It was. They really established their defense in a few different aspects of the things. They got a couple things to go their way, like a couple things at home that are important that went their way, and they ran with them. I mean, I don't even know if you saw it on the screen, but at a bounce play, 100 feet from the other team's basket, and Session gets a steal and then puts it in. I mean, that's a big that's big time in this league. So Osei came on and did a very wonderful job of stabilizing things and hitting some shots. Carl Howell showed us some crossover moves from the perimeter. They're just starting to click.
We see Franklin knocking down that 3 ball. Isom has had a strong game here for St. John, and Devon Maxwell, he's been involved quite a bit. He's gotten into a couple of physical altercations. And this is Kimi Osei here. Nice feed for Maxwell, who was hiding along that baseline. And Kimi Osei getting some more playing time, feeling comfortable with Coach Kendrick's system. And there's Wormley. Wormley had to sit down for a bit as he found Miller. So we'll see now if Wormley is going to check back in. It doesn't look like he's going to come back in just yet. As Marvin Binney, he'll stay at the point position here for the Riptide. And these two teams, they're going to go at it again in a couple of days' time in St. John. And then after that game on the 27th, the Storm find themselves in Halifax on the 29th. They'll play a back-to-back situation on the 30th as they head to Cape Breton, and then they'll wrap up the regular season on April the 1st, the makeup game against London. States try to throw it up with that right hand. And that'll be Storm ball. 12 on the shot clock. Osei working against Redpath. Fade away. Iron. Hall gets that offensive board. Osei will settle it down. Isom trying to contain the big man. Hall. Osei fake. Slides it over here. And that's Rashawn Wynn as he gets his first taste of action. Good entrance into this game for Rashawn Wynn Jr. out of Oakland, California.
Yeah, you just look at him working on defense.
Isom from downtown hits the iron.
He's going to get some important minutes in playoff time because you need that stopper. Somebody that's down in that. His stance is just one of the best I've seen at that position. Just wants to play defense first.
And, you know, you get in the playoffs, you need to have that bench. And, oh, he's all over the place here. And that's the one thing, you know, talking to Coach Kendrick, loves his hustle, loves his team defense. As you take a look at Rashawn Wynn Jr.
Then when you put him in, the first thing he does is hit a 3.
Here's Hall trying to back down Redpath. Out for Osei, and Kimi Osei just getting it done here this afternoon, number 5 for the Island Storm. Binney, as he gets that ball knocked out of his hands. What do you like from Osei? What have you seen from him that's impressed you, especially the last, I don't know, couple of weeks?
He's thinking like a shooter. Like, so he's just moving around the court, and he's looking, like before it just didn't really look that comfortable. He would just shoot it by default. Now he's looking for that shot. So his footwork's getting better. He's keeping his hips and his feet completely square when he shoots the basket. His elbow comes really high, and then when he's gonna hit a shot, I know there's gonna be a lot of rotation on that ball. And those are all hard things to do in the heat of a basketball game. He's been doing it very well the last 7 or 8 games. See, watch. See his feet? Okay, that one didn't go, but I mean, everything was set, so he just, boom, he knew he was going to shoot it.
The mechanics are there now for him.
Oh, absolutely.
Here's Redpath going to drive and lays it up. Back the other way, States. In for Burdine. Teardrop is good. And now Coach Soroba, he's seen enough.
Yeah, and this is 4 guys in Carl Hall. Carl Hall started tonight, but this is three people off the bench.
And that's got to be a big confidence booster to your team when you get your depth players, your bench players coming in and really producing.
Yeah, I mean, States playing at UPI here. Burdine playing at Holland College for a number of years. Like, that's interesting. Those guys are starting to contribute. So, you know, the Storm become really, really difficult to guard right now.
And just a reminder, folks, playoff tickets will go on sale next week. And if you put 40% down on 2018-19 season tickets, your playoff tickets this year for free on the house. So a good deal that the Storm are providing you here. Still don't know who they're going to play in the first round. It's either going to be Moncton or St. John in that first round. Either way, it's going to be a good series.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it's Moncton too, I mean, Coach Salerno over there, he's coached here for a number of years, has a lot of Island player connections over there in Moncton right now with Al Stewart and Terry Thomas, and so I mean, if they play Moncton, I mean, it's like I don't know, it's like going against your big brother, or maybe your little brother. Or
that'll be a very interesting series if it's Moncton. As you mentioned, Terry Thomas, Al Stewart, guys that have, well, in the case of Al Stewart, he's been here for a while, played here with the Storm for a while, and Terry Thomas, what a season he had last year playing for the Storm, so that would be very interesting. And that Moncton team, they are a hard-nosed team. And I think that would get some interest here in Charlottetown. I think we could get some big crowds for those playoff games.
Yeah, and you'll get a lot of Prince Edward Island people traveling to that game too.
To Moncton, yeah.
So it'll be, I'd say there'd be about at least 200 or 300 people going over for that game from here.
So 9:35 remaining in the fourth quarter. Storm, nice, comfortable lead. Benny drives and gets it to go.
With that nice talent there. That's left. He's going left. Puts it high off the glass. Oof, that was a nice move.
Former St. Mary's Husky player, Marvin Binney out of Toronto. 90-71 lead for the Storm. Burdine stays into the contest. Nice move by Wynn. He finds the open man, and now the putback. So good ball sharing once again, Gord, by the Island Storm.
This is a tough lineup. There's a lot of athleticism and movement, and they're playing like young players. And it's hard to guard a young player because he's always moving.
Here's Binney, tries his luck from downtown.
You know, if I went back to play now, I'd just set up a lawn chair somewhere and just set a couple screens.
Nice hook by Hall.
Like, these guys are moving.
Yeah, I mean, the pace. I mean, like I told you in the first half, I thought, don't we have another quarter to go before we get to the break? That's how fast that first half was. There's a hope and a prayer by Bowdry. No good. Franklin, he's got time, he's got space, can't drain it. Loose ball, Miller looking for it, and he finds it. Long bounce pass to Redpath. And the Storm, I was saying, is a nice, comfortable lead. They got to be very careful here.
And a good move by Redpath. His footwork when he caught that ball was very, very unique. And I mean, he's a good player.
Franklin going up against Miller. Little spin move. Gets closed down by a couple of Riptide players. Here's Burdine, launched the three. And Bowdry gets the defensive board for the Riptide in the corner. Miller draining it, and he says he got fouled by States. And boy, Brad States was right in his grill and closed him down, but still he got that ball off and sank it.
Miller does not flinch. That three-pointer, man, that is very, very good mechanics and technique. Oof, there's the ball.
Hall lost the ball. States found it, but he is fouled.
I'd like to know what Miller's career high would be. I could just see him somewhere in high school if he had that stroke, just sitting in the corner, bang, 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 bang. He'd probably be in the 50s.
Well, he's done that a number of times here this afternoon. Gets that ball in the corner, and he's cool as a cucumber, and he's knocked down his fair share of shots here this afternoon, but his team down 94-76. And the Storm getting some real good production from their bench here.
And listen, we haven't seen Wormley come back. I don't know. I don't even know if I see him.
I don't even see him.
Oh, there he is.
Is he on the bench?
He's got his hoodie on.
Okay.
But he went off at about the 4-minute mark of the third.
Yeah.
And we haven't seen him come on, so that's quite a bit of time to be off. But you know, coaches, they have to like 40 games, like they're at game 35, 36, 37. You know, and you've got practices in there, you're traveling a lot. You got to make sure that you're not driving these thoroughbreds right to the end.
Yeah. I mean, and it's not charter flights they're taking here. It's not NBA travel.
No.
This is, you know, this is buses, and you can't wear your guys. You can't wear your guys down. You got to be careful of minutes and practice time.
So I don't even know if we'll see Wormley again. And it's good because even though they're losing, like the Storm went to St. John, and I watched that game. They got down early, and St. John was on fire. It just didn't give them a sniff. It got really tight for the Storm. They just kept trying, and just the lead kept ballooning. But I mean, that was a good experience for them. St. John is coming in and basically having the mirror image of the game that the Storm had in St. John. They're having the same thing here. So they're like, okay, you know, turn it down, shut it down maybe a little bit.
And that was just a bad day for the Storm. That was on Thursday. You might recall bad weather. Talking to Coach Kendrick, he didn't want to use any excuses, but he kind of, you know, acknowledged that was a tough day. They had to leave Charlottetown at 10 a.m. for a 7 o'clock game. They got there, so what are you going to do? So they spent a couple hours at a mall, and that really takes you out of your game day rhythm.
Yeah.
And right off the hop in that game, St. John just took it to the Storm, and they were never in the game. And there's a giveaway by Bowdry. Got it back again. Anderson finds the open man. That was Franklin. Maxwell for three.
Well, good rebound.
Isom got that defensive board and pushed it up the court for Miller.
Not giving any baseline.
Benny, and he's fouled by Anderson. But, I mean, people might not think, oh, that can't be a big deal getting out of your game day rhythm, but it is.
Oh yeah, you sit around and you're just you're in a bus first of all, which is dehydrating, and then you get out and you're going to a mall and you're into Susie Shear and wherever else.
Talking to Coach Kendrick too, the coming back was just as bad. I mean, the weather really deteriorated after the game. So that makes for a long day. They look well rested though here this afternoon. Franklin in and out. Maxwell, offensive board. He'll settle it down. Maxwell inside for Hall. And that went off the hands of Isom.
Good block.
He blocked that one. Yes, he did. And it'll be Storm ball here with 14 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Isom's going to check out. Nadondo will come in for St. John. From the corner. And Kimi Osei, he's got it going on, folks. Native out of Montreal. Boy, he might be the player of the game here for the Storm. And Marvin Binney comes back with a jumper of his own.
He could be the player of the month for the Atlantic Division side. I mean, that's how good a month he had.
Franklin was out of control there, lost it. Boudry going baseline and just runs right over Franklin Session.
That was a good D.
And Benny is going to get called for the foul.
Sessions had a strong game today.
Watch it right here as Benny had nowhere to go, and whoa.
Yeah, I didn't know what the refs were going to call there because they could have called a block or a charge. It's just because the offensive player went to the left side.
And Franklin couldn't save that ball. It'll be St. John ball. 5:09 remaining here in the fourth quarter. Good crowd on hand here. I'm going to say, gee, I don't know, Gord, 23, 24, maybe 2,500 here at the Eastlink Center.
Great crowd today.
And the hope is they'll get crowds like this come playoff time. Redpath launches one, no good.
And they did a big partnership this week with Easter Seals. Great charity here, so a lot of fans in for that. The kids were throwing airplanes at halftime. And
Osei again, Kimi Osei. He's got the hot hand, folks, and the Storm hoping they can bottle that for postseason time.
And he's shooting at such a clip that you really have to continue to look for him.
And Boudry gets knocked down by Anderson. They're going to get Tyler Scott back in. They're going to get Chris Johnson. Boy, the depth on this team, and you've seen some of the play from the bench players, has been outstanding. So that's going to bode well for this team.
When you saw when Andre Stringer, unfortunately, like what a great young man, went down with a awful injury in his Achilles. Again, we think a lot about him, and he put a huge first half in. When he went down, Kimi Osei that's when he kind of just stepped up and said, you know what, I learned from Andre, and I think I can play that role, and has he ever.
And you talk about Andre Stringer, that's a guy that was averaging 16.2 points a game. Meshach Lufile into the game. He tried to kick it back out for Kimi Osei, and then Redpath picked it off.
And that's the time to try those alley-oops and stuff. That's fine. I mean, you're up. Like, have some fun out there. Like, play basketball like you're playing basketball. You know, but come playoff times, I don't want to see that pass up in the air like that.
So 102-79. Storm had a great third quarter. They've played some good ball here in the fourth. Drive there by Kenny Otino out of the University of Alberta.
And you know, this was kind of a weird game. Because you look at it, St. John starts off, they go up. And then the Storm come back and they go up. Then St. John came back with that run. And this, but there was no real flow. Like, it was usually like teams are going back and forth. But now we're sitting at 22 points. You know, there was huge runs in this game.
Right. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, good run to start the game for St. John. Storm come back. And I don't know, I think pretty much here's Mishak as he tried to dunk that. But I think third quarter on, it's been the Storm.
Yeah, it definitely has. And you can see the legs and I think that St. John gave it a good go early on, and they just kind of maybe ran out of legs, and then I can see that Wormley's hasn't played, so he's finished. Like, so they're on to playoff mode right now. They're on to getting ready and you know, trying to win, but then, you know, not necessarily taking any risks.
Benny hit a three. Mishak, little hook. Devon tried to tap it back and couldn't get the deuce. Here's Benny. Boundary wide open, drilling it for a triple. So 102-85. Storm in front. Maxwell, nice feed for Anderson, and he's fouled, and Anderson will head to the charity stripe. If there's one thing that you are concerned about, or I guess concern would be the proper word about the Storm in terms of heading to the playoffs, what's the one thing they need to really clamp down on?
Being disciplined.
Yeah.
Just being disciplined in their ball movement and as well as their rotations on defense. If you do not rotate and you're not comfortable with your rotations on defense in the playoffs, you're in trouble. So make sure that those two things, consistent offense, move the basketball, get those shots for Osei, get Session a few easier baskets, put the ball into Maxwell's hands where he can score, and then defensively work your tail off, but do it in a control fashion.
And that's one of the things, talking to Coach Kendrick the last time we did a game here against Cape Breton, that he was really happy with the rotations defensively.
Yeah.
Mishak into that low post, banging bodies there with Nadondo. A nice play there. Good low post move by Mishak Lufile.
And it's good to see his ankles getting better. He's moving on it a little bit more. That was quite an ankle for a basketball player done that badly is difficult to come back for. So it's with a good move there. And you could tell on that dunk, like, I don't think I've ever seen Mishak miss a dunk. You know, it's just because you're missing a little bit of that lift. You kind of question yourself when you have to spring off that ankle. So
Mishak began the season in Europe, didn't like what was going on, i.e. I don't think he was getting a paycheck on a regular basis with his team in Europe. Decided to come back to Canada to this True North Strong and Free. Tim Kendrick needed a big man, and as he's going to play a role in the playoffs. Getting some time here in this game. That pass out of his reach. Back the other way. Otino couldn't finish it off.
He wants to go right, eh? Okay, there's back to his left.
Mishak missed that one.
Oh no, this is a good way to end the season at home for the Storm. Like, they're asserting themselves as a strong playoff team, and they'll be difficult to beat. They're good in all the positions.
Benny, who's had the majority of the playing time at the point for St. John in the second half. As you had mentioned, Gord warmly out of the game, trying to rest number 4. Maxwell will launch one.
Oh.
And there's Burdine, cleans up the garbage.
Yeah, Mishak had 2 guys hanging off of him and managed to create enough action on the other side that Burdine cleaned it up.
Redpath kicks it out. Otino missed that. So the Storm They're not done with this St. John team yet. They'll meet them in a couple of days' time. And then after that, they still have 3 more games left in the regular season. Get themselves ready for postseason play. And the fans very appreciative of this Storm team, as that's Wynn knocking down his shot. So a solid victory here, Gord, for this Island Storm team.
Absolutely, and Wynn hitting a couple shots. Like, this is a good confidence booster from 1 through, I don't know, there's nine guys that can play today. So, man, this is a good test. But I like what St. John's doing. They rested some guys in the second half. They're ready for playoffs. They're gonna they could have a pretty good run if this team gets hot. Ooh, they're dangerous.
And we take a look at Devon Maxwell. He had his game face on all day long. He played a gritty game here this afternoon. So solid game for the Island Storm. The final score here from the Eastlink Center in Charlottetown. Island Storm win this one 109-85. On behalf of Gord McNeely and the entire crew at Universum Media, I'm Peter Ruckgazer saying so long from Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island.